Welcome back. It's the Morning Crossfire 92.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Sam, Oracle Chinedu. You've heard it once, twice, and 1,000 times. And I repeat it, important conversations happen here, especially now. For this hour, we're looking at the Electoral Act. Yes, indeed. The House of Reps is expected to pass amendments to the Electoral Act 2010 today, barring any last-minute change in plan. The Committee on Electoral Matters laid its report on the Electoral Act 2010 Amendment Bill at plenary yesterday. The bill was referred to the committee on November 24, 2020, so it's safe to say it's long overdue. In the report, the committee recommended that electronic voting and transmission of results should be left at the discretion of INEC. Now, the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, and Chairman of the House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Benjamin Kalu, had separately stated that the bill would be passed before the National Assembly embarks on its 2-month annual recess, which begins today. I think I'm more interested in recess of 2 months. That's quite some time. But hey, reactions have followed this report, as it should, really. In a democracy, people react. And well, this is Nigeria. It looks like people react even louder. The transmission of results should be left at the discretion of INEC. Let's double click on that for a bit. Now, the committee recommended, of course, electronic voting and transmission should be left at INEC's discretion. Specifically, Section 48, subsection 2 of the bill reads, voting at an election and transmission of results under this bill shall be in accordance with the procedure determined by the Commission. So it's up to INEC, really, how they'd like that result transmitted. Well, to discuss all that needs discussing, our go-to guy, journalist and public affairs analyst Olalekan joins me via phone. Good morning, Mr. Ige.
Yeah, good morning, Chinedu. How are you this morning?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm good too.
All right. So let's look at where we are, or better yet, where we're going. The bill went from an outlaw of electronic result transmission completely to now leaving it to the discretion of INEC. Are we making progress? What are your thoughts on that movement?
Well, I would say yes, we are making progress. Progress in the sense that, look, we now finally agree that if we are to get our electoral process right, we have to use modern technology. We are spending so much money conducting elections in Nigeria. The last general election, Independent National Electoral Commission spent close to 300 billion conducting the general election. That money we could have used to attend to other problems, developing the nation. If we go the way of electronic, because, excuse me please, it's going to cut a lot of costs. You understand? The idea of printing ballot paper will first of all be eliminated. Remember that our ballot papers are even printed, our ballot papers are printed outside the shores of the country. So you can understand how much it will cost us to ferry dollars abroad, how much it will cost us to print ballot paper, and how much it will cost us to bring it back to Nigeria. Then look at how much INEC is going to spend transporting this thing from Abuja to the various states of the Federation. INEC will have to keep the sensitive materials in the vault of the Central Bank of Nigeria, in every Central Bank of Nigeria branches in every state of the Federation. Then from each of those CBN vaults in each state of the Federation, they now begin to move it to Registration Area Center, which is called RAC by INEC. From that point, it's now moved from RAC to various polling units. So just calculate how much is spent on logistics alone by INEC. Check how much is spent alone on moving security personnel from one end of Nigeria to the other. So we're going to eliminate a lot of costs if we go the way of electronic. So I would say, look, we've achieved a step forward. We finally agree that, look, INEC can actually do election or conduct elections via electronic methods. So it's one step forward at the moment.
Now let me go back to something you said. We print ballot papers outside Nigeria.
Sure.
We don't have good printers here. Why is that the only option on the table?
Well, the body that could have done that, there there's also the issue of trust, the issue of who is more reliable or not, should have been the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Company. But the Security and Minting Company have been performing optimally. Remember, some of our currencies are printed abroad. I'm sure you know that some of our currencies are printed abroad. Some of, I hope you also know that our international passports are printed abroad and shipped to Nigeria. So we begin to understand the kind of challenges we've had over time. And particularly for INEC, the amount of money we spend conducting elections is so huge. And if we can go the way of electronics, we are going to cut a lot of costs. A lot. I'm sure as much as 50 to 60% of INEC expenditure on election will be reduced if you go the way of electronics.
All right. Now, you've mentioned the cost, which is heavy, as we can tell. But let's look at the fidelity of the process. How important is the result transmission system to the fidelity of the exercise itself?
Well, we need to first of all agree that, look, we can do this process. We need to agree that it is achievable. There is no system anywhere in the world that is perfect, but there must be a reasonable level of certainty. Even in the United States, I'm sure you know what transpired when Donald Trump became the president of America. You read about the accusations, people accusing Russia of tampering with the electoral process in the United States. Even the last election in the United States, Donald Trump went as far as challenging results in some of the states. If I went to court that some to recount, the votes they had in their various counties and all of that, a lot of people voted by mail. It challenged that process. Look, why should we are saying social number of people voted by mail. How are we sure these people truly voted by mail? And how many of them actually voted by mail? You will always have, some exceptions here and there. But overall, the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. And look, we are already a nation developing in terms of technology. And look, every day we trust our phone to transfer huge sums of money. Just this phone, via USSD code of some banks, you can transfer. Some banks give you the level to transfer as much as 2 million, 3 million, 4 million.
Yeah.
That is your money. And this is where your money is where your mind is.
That's right.
That's where your heart is. So if you can trust a process to transfer huge sums of money via electronic banking, via mobile banking, I think that is the height of what you can seek to protect in life. Your money, your hard-earned money, you are ready to die to protect it. So if you have a process that we already have that can make us, transmit or send money, we already have the national identity card, which a lot of Nigerians have at the moment. As at the last count, more than 70 million Nigerians already have access to a national identity number. We need to already have like a database of what we can start with. The deployment might not be complete, across the states of the federation, but we are lucky in the sense that we already have mobile service providers in Nigeria. Some of them have immense outlay, of fiber optics, across the length and breadth of the federation. Yes, I agree there are still many areas in Nigeria that are hard to reach. Some are not consistent in terms of network and all of that. But these are different challenges that we can overcome. In areas where we think electronic voting cannot take place, we can substitute, of course, by normal manual voting. But if you check the total, we have 774 local governments in Nigeria. If you have just about 50 or 60 or 70 local governments with some communities that are hard to reach, then I think we've covered a major proportion, of the country in Nigeria. And for those who are arguing by saying, look, we can't transmit results electronically, INEC did that during the last governorship election in those states.
Yeah.
As soon as the results were announced at the polling unit, it was automatically uploaded onto INEC website. And I was monitoring on those results right from Port Harcourt, word by word, unit by unit, local government by local government. As soon as the results are announced at the word, it is automatically uploaded. It gives, less room for you to want to manipulate the process because it is immediately uploaded by the polling officer. You understand? So the fidelity will be there. The challenge, absolutely. I remember when we brought the issue of automated teller machines to Nigeria.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know that a lot of Nigerians are skeptical.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people had challenges, initially when you withdraw money, you don't get the money, it's deducted from your account, it is reversed 24 hours later. The challenges are still there. But look at it, by and large, Nigerians have gotten used to the use of automated teller machine. I'm sure you are aware of a lot of point of sale terminals spread all over Nigeria where you can go to rather than go to bank, insert your debit card, and they give you money.
Yeah.
That process is, we already have, a background of somewhat efficient, use of technology in Nigeria. So the fidelity will be there.
Yeah, well, it's safe to say at this point that POS is the local government of banking. It's on every corner. So
yes, even in some communities that do not have, in fact, the only form of banking in many communities in Nigeria today is the POS.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the only bank available in many villages in Nigeria. So a lot of people go there easily. And the good thing about the electronic voting is that, look, INEC does not even need to build offices for them. I'm sure there is hardly any community you get to in Nigeria today that will not have either of primary, secondary, higher institution, church, mosque, public facility, posts. There are a lot of, public structures. So INEC does not even need to build new houses for them. We can put these things as strategic places where it can be protected.
Surely.
You understand? It's easy, yeah. So it's easy for us to look. And the idea of ballot board matching will also reduce. In fact, will be eliminated in many places. Because if you like, carry away the electronic voting machine. Even if you carry it away, all the results are already uploaded to a central database. So it's of no use for you to even attack it.
All right.
Even if you destroy it, you don't destroy the data that is inside because it's already uploaded to INEC central database.
So, Mr. Ige, let's look at the main argument. Now, even though people agree that the results should be transmitted electronically, they are saying it should not be at INEC's discretion. It should be a part of the act, which makes it a law. Which do you think would provide a better working system, making it a law or leaving it to INEC to choose?
Now, there are two sides. It's like two sides to a coin. Now, if you say let's leave it to the discretion of INEC, that may also be good in the sense that INEC will now have to determine whether it's ready for 2023 for Nigerians to vote electronically. Because as much as what we say at the moment, there's a lot of technological deployment that has to be done. We have to bring in people to sample the kind of electronic voting machine that we are likely to use. Will it be made by Nigerians? Will it be imported? How quickly can we ensure that we import it and get to every part of Nigeria? Calibrate the electronic voting machine to be able to work, test run it, ensure that there is sufficient transmission of data to the central database of INEC. Can we get all of that in place between now and 2023? Only INEC can answer. If, on the other side, if we make it mandatory that, look, there must be electronic voting, what if INEC says they can achieve that by 2023? So leaving it at the discretion of INEC may just be a way of saying, look, INEC, come and tell us, can you be ready before 2023? One thing is to make it mandatory. Another thing is to see whether it is workable. You understand? So probably the input of INEC should have been taken at the public hearing stage. What did INEC say?
Yeah, but Mr. Ige, there are two conversations here. There is the electronic voting and then the electronic transmission of the results. There's no way INEC
central database.
Yeah, there's no way INEC will say it's not ready to transmit electronically. That's pretty basic, if you ask me.
No, what I'm saying is, as long as there's going to be electronic voting, the results must be transmitted to a central database. One cannot be exclusive of the other. It's not possible. It's not. They are mutually inclusive. The moment they are going to have electronic voting, there must be a central database that people can call up at any point in time. You go to tribunal to challenge the result of a particular area. You can call up the result from INEC central database and say, look, we want the result of so. We want the number of people that voted, the people that were registered, and all of that. That can be produced from the electronic central central database of INEC. So there is no agreement as to say, look, let us do electronic voting, but please don't transmit it to INEC central database. That is illogical. They are not exclusive of each other. They are mutually inclusive. So one before the other, one cannot exist outside of the other. That's my argument.
All right. Well, we need to take a break now, and coming up next, you and I will be talking about the campaign limit put to different candidates at different levels by this same bill. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Morning Crossfire on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. It still is the Morning Crossfire 92.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Sam, Oracle Chinedu. Now coming up next on Hello Port Hackett, today Jude will be having reps from PHED to answer questions on, well, power issues, as you can imagine. So if you have any complaints, please send them to our WhatsApp from now so he can take them at that time. It's 080-903-06416. Now back to the focus. The House of Reps expected to pass amendments to the Electoral Act today, barring any last-minute change in plans. And the biggest controversy from this, the source of argument, is about the electronic transmission of results left at the discretion of INEC. The conversation on the other side is that it should be made a part of the Act, a law, and not to INEC's choosing. I still have Mr. Olalekan Ige on the phone with me. You're welcome once again, Mr. Ige.
Yeah, thank you, Chinedu.
All right. Thanks for being there. Now, the other part is the maximum election expense to be incurred by a candidate at the presidential level should not exceed 5 billion. Maximum amount for a governorship candidate, 1 billion. It goes on to talk about some other. I had that list here. I'm going to try to get it. So let's look at that. Nobody should spend more than 5 billion for presidential campaign. What do you make of that figure? Too high, too low, or just enough?
It's difficult. I'm sure you know what it is to campaign in Nigeria. I doubt whether 5 billion will be enough. I so much doubt it. But much more important than that is who tracks it, who does the tracking.
Yeah.
Since 1999, have you heard INEC querying the expenditure for any presidential election in Nigeria? I think INEC should not be burdened with the responsibility of determining. Probably there should be a different commission that does that tracking. If my suggestion may be right. INEC should be burdened with strictly conducting elections. INEC has not even successfully conducted election to the satisfaction of majority of Nigerians. Then you now want to burden INEC with tracking how much a political party spends. I think INEC should focus on its core responsibility. If there can be any other, maybe government agency, probably the Auditor General of the Federation, or should there be an audit body set up? Maybe the INEC itself, but existing outside of INEC, that is able to audit the accounts of all political parties in Nigeria, especially after every general election. It's already in the Electoral Act that political parties should submit at the end of every election what they've spent for that election. How many political parties have been able to do that? Has INEC been able to sanction any political party? That also brings me back to what I said earlier. If we say it should be mandatory that INEC must do electronic voting, what if INEC is not ready by 2023? Because it is not just putting it in the law that is the problem. It is implementation. And I'm sure you are aware that one of the major problems in Nigeria is not the absence of laws. We have so many laws, numerous laws in Nigeria. It is implementing the laws to the letter that has been a challenge to us. So, in saying 5 billion to campaign for presidential election, that is too little, if you ask me. If you know the extent of campaign, if you look at it very well, how many, let's take for example, how many radio stations do we have in Nigeria? Let's assume that we have 1,000 radio stations in Nigeria, and you want to take probably a campaign jingle to say 500 out of it. Maybe each campaign jingle is 10,000 naira. 10,000 multiplied by 500 stations, and 10,000 is just one slot. If you are going to run up to 4 slots in a day, that is 40,000 multiplied by 500 radio stations in a day, multiplied by 30 days. Then you can begin to understand that that is just on radio. Television will still be there. Posters will still be there. Moving from one end of Nigeria, hire private jet to be able to move, maybe get a helicopter to move from one location, to the other. Is that nowhere is presidential system of government cheap in the world? Nowhere in the world. Not even in the United States. In fact, go through the records of the Democrats and Republicans and find out how much they spent during the last presidential campaign in the United States. And that's why you see some of the aspirants, begin to talk to members of the political party to donate money to their campaigns. Ordinary Americans to say, please, can you donate even if it's just $1? Because it is expensive to run a presidential system.
They do fundraising,
so you need money.
Yeah.
So we have 36 states of the federation. So you can imagine how much it will cost for a presidential candidate to traverse the length and breadth of this country. You travel to 36 states, you go to Abuja, then there are other, campaigns you have to do outside of the general campaign. You understand? So you begin to understand how huge it is, and that's why, look, it's difficult for anybody to emerge from the blue. Even when we talk about independent candidature, who is the independent candidate? Where are you going to get the money from? You do not have any structure whatsoever. So how do you want to build a structure? How do you want to move from one place to the other? As buoyant, let me that you use the word carefully, but as buoyant as Atiku is, as buoyant as the People's Democratic Party is, Atiku did not campaign in all the states of the Federation during the 2019 general election. There were some states he couldn't go. And that is for a man that is buoyant, for a political party that is buoyant. He didn't campaign in all the states of the Federation. So you begin to understand that, look, 5 billion doesn't cut it. Then how do you even monitor if they have spent less or more than 5 billion? How do you monitor?
All right.
That's a key problem. Because, for example, if you're contesting election Chinedu and they say the political party should not spend more than 5 billion, what if I, Olalekan, as your friend, say, so Chinedu, don't worry, I'll pay for your political jingle, maybe on a national television station. Will that be captured as part of campaign expenditure? you see where there might be problems in the long run.
Well, technically,
you have people who are your friends who want to do certain things on your behalf. Will that be captured as part of campaign fund? Or campaign fund is strictly what the political party is going to spend? So there might be some powerful blocks that will exist out of your political party. Who will spend money on your behalf?
Oh, true. That would pose a problem with tracking it in any part of the world. But I know that if they are going to do this, it will have to be what comes directly from the political party. Anyways, I have more questions. But if you're listening and you'd like to ask a thing or two, or maybe complain, 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. The question for the conversation is, are you satisfied with the provisions of the Electoral Bill? And Mr. Ige and I have been stating some of those provisions. I have David calling from Yenagoa. Good morning, David.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Sam. My name is David West.
Go ahead.
Now, let me look at the position of the House of Reps as regards conferring the power of discretionary power on INEC to decide whether to transfer vote electronically or not.
That's right.
I would want to form my opinion with regards to the past Supreme Court decision on electronic voting when the card reader came in. Why am I taking this position? Is because for me, if you take a combined interpretation of the Constitution, if you look at Section 153, Sub 1, Paragraph F, establish the law, the Constitution established certain bodies, and INEC is one of those bodies. The Constitution went further in Section 160, Subsection 1, to confer powers on this body to make regulations for itself on how its procedures will be, and also confer the powers to make duties to any of its officers. When you look at this provision of the Constitution, placing it side by side with the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, Section 2, Subsection 2, also gives powers to INEC to make regulations for itself.
So, David, what's the point?
Now, the point now is, if the Constitution had already given powers to these bodies to make regulations for themselves, then I do not see any reason why, with all due respect to my learned justices at the Supreme Court, to come up with the decision they came up with as regards the candidate in the case of Junior Agbaje versus Fashola and Gakuku Peter side versus Nelson Wiki. For me, that decision was not a proper decision because already INEC had been given the powers to regulate.
Okay, David, it was taking too long to make a short point, but with the body regulating itself, I already see a lot of problems with that. I have OG from UPTH. Good morning, OG.
Yeah, good morning, Chinedu, and good morning to your guest in the studio.
Morning.
Yeah, Chinedu, one thing I have against this night of assembly is that they wake up in the morning as a house member, as a senator, you begin to think about your future as a senator. Leaving the aspect of you can also be an incoming after you've lost an election. Based on that, at the end of the day, you fall. My question to your guest here is this. Who prosecutes who at the end of the day falls victim to this Electoral Act? That is one. And secondly, will you not hear at the end of the day tomorrow that this is a witch hunt after a senator or a politician has won an election and has been sworn in? At the end of the day, when he's brought into the court, the next thing you hear is a witch hunt. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Ige, did you get the question?
Yes, I understand what he's saying. Who prosecutes who?
Yeah.
I'm sure part of the amendment to the Electoral Act is the creation and Electoral Offences Commission. You understand? They're also looking, I'm sure they're already looking in that direction to say, look, can't we have an Electoral Offences Commission that deals squarely with electoral malpractices or election-related violence and all of that? It's part of what is being proposed in the bill. Let's have a commission that, that is strictly, set up to perform this responsibility. And on the issue of witch hunt, I don't think there are anything like witch hunt. That's why you talked about fidelity of the process. If you talk about the fidelity of the process, and you have majority of people who contest in an election say, well, there's no need for me to contest this election. I think the people have spoken their mind. Alternatively, if they are not satisfied, you can still go to tribunal. The tribunal can order for INEC to produce the database of a particular area. For example, if you contested a governorship election and you lost, you can go to a tribunal. Tribunal can order INEC to produce the result of your state. Very simple, because you already have everything on your central database. Every polling unit will have its own marked number. The total, remember, to part of what is going to go into the electoral process is that INEC must have electronic register of all voters in Nigeria and must be made available 7 days before an election. So you begin to understand that, look, if not to challenge any result, part of what you'll be demanding for, and for which is also demanded for even through the manual process, one is the voters register for a particular state. INEC will be able to provide that electronically because it's easy to print all of them out. INEC will even be able to segment or subset it to say, look, you want the particular register of voters for, say, constituency A or constituency B, or for a ward or for a local government. INEC will be able to further subdivide them upon order by the court of competent jurisdiction to bring all of them before the court so that you can challenge based on the evidence, so that the idea of overvoting will even be arrested. Because if you don't come to vote, nothing is registered in your name.
Truly.
And like I gave you an example, is it even possible to calibrate some of the automated teller machines to turn them to voting machines during an election? Can we partner with banks? A lot of banks already have the data via BVN. No matter the number of bank accounts you have in Nigeria, you can only have a single BVN. Since the banks already have the BVN of a sizable number of Nigerians, can INEC partner with banks to turn automated teller machines to voting machines during an election? Just go there, slot in your PVC if the ATM will agree to it, or put your fingerprint and identify you as a voter, identify where you're registered, and you're able to vote. And that's why I said, look, if we say we should put it mandatorily that INEC must use electronic voting for 2023, I support it. But will INEC be ready if we are to deploy all of these things?
All right.
So if you look at their discussion, let INEC come forward to say, we are ready for 2023. If you understand, or INEC says no, we can do in some areas in 2023, but we are sure that by 2027 we will have covered the entire states of the federation. It's work in progress. Really.
Okay. Now let's take some comments. Thank God that Webu on WhatsApp says, why excluding electronic transmission of result? Is there anything they are hiding from Nigerians? He asks. And Christopher is on the phone from Ruma Biakani. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my own take is on these members defecting from one party to another.
That's not the focus. We're talking about the electoral bill, Christopher.
Is it not part of this electric law? Because the level of defection on the part of members is head off. So I want...
Thank you, Christopher. The focus, again, is not on defection. If text messages can be transmitted and received in any village, election results can be transmitted electronically. Gold says on WhatsApp, if Nass is claiming, that's the National Assembly of course, our villages and towns are remote, results cannot be transmitted, then shame on them for not driving dividends of democracy to their constituents. That's quite the angle. Anna Lay from NTA Road is on the phone. Good morning.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. My take on this issue is this. The results should be transmitted electronically. The essence of this electronic transmission is that we want to speak with the same voice from the polling booth to the city.
Hello? Madam. I apologize, Anele. Chris from Artillery, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, let me tell you, this bill and the other thing, I give up on Nigerian election. You see, I went and witnessed one, and they are telling people, press on here, press on umbrella, press on broom, press on this. I say, wow, this is one, is it election or what? Where I met a sister will be telling people, hey, Mama, press sitting on umbrella. Nigerian Democrats, they are not ready. Yes, to do election. Election, when you want to put something, nobody will know who you are voting for. Why they don't want us to do electronic? We are, as I'm making this call now, you see how they transfer my call to you. See how it works? Nobody will say this person do this. Why? What is this that federal government are hiding? If we can transfer our call to another person before they pass it to you, what is happening to election in Nigeria? As far as I'm concerned, no election has been fair in this Nigeria. All of them are rigging. They rig themselves out. Nobody votes for them. I'm telling you the truth. If you go and ready for election.
Well, Chris, I like to look at the election process as work in progress. There are irregularities. We've had issues. But a lot of people like to point to the 93 election as an example of a system that can work. I don't know if you agree, Mr. Ige.
Yes, I agree. You know, 1993 is a watershed in Nigeria's electoral history, and we can achieve it again if we have the right people. You understand? We can achieve what we had in 1993, and one of the best ways we can do that is via the electronic voting. It makes it easy, and once we have electronic voting, Chinedu, we can now stagger the elections. What do I mean by staggering elections? It means that we don't need to shut down Nigeria on any particular day because we are conducting general election.
Yeah.
Do we need to shut down the nation? So we can as well say that, look, election will take place between Monday and Friday, between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Is there a time in that? So that you can as well go to work in the morning, then you tell your boss, I want to go and cast my ballot. And your boss says, look, I'll give you 10 minutes. And the nearest voting point to you might just be the automated ballot machine that is less than 5-10 minutes walk from you. You understand? So the idea of shutting down the country because we are conducting governorship and House of Assembly election, you shut it down this part of it. Then the next one, because we are conducting National Assembly and presidential election, you shut down Nigeria's airspace, you shut down all the roads, you shut down everything that should be moving in Nigeria. If you go the way of electronics, we can go to our various places of work, we can go to our farms. you are not limited. There won't be a time you are not limited to say, look, what do they call accreditation will take place between the hours of 8 to 10. Then voting will start from 12 to 3. By the time some people come to accredit in the morning, to even come back from their various houses, to even come and vote, don't I beg, I don't tire, make I stay for my house. I beg. You understand? So so you see the difference between when you are accredited, and vote. After some time, INEC themselves discover that a lot of Nigerians accredit and don't come back. INEC on its own change it again to say, as soon as you are accredited, vote. Some of this we will eliminate them because there shouldn't be anything like accreditation. Just go to where there is a voting machine, input either your number or your fingerprint or insert your voter's card. It brings up your data and it asks you, do you want to vote for so person, yes or no or something.
All right, let's take our final call.
Get
Ms. Ige, this is Daniel from Transamadi. Good morning, Daniel.
Yeah, good morning, Sam.
Go ahead.
And good morning to your guest. For me, Sam, I have a problem when INEC should be the one to regulate and decide whether we are going to have election through electronic or maybe transmit through electronic. For me, we should have a law. When we want to solve a problem, we solve a problem once and for all. We should have a law that permits INEC a must. You must have election through electronic and we must transmit through electronically because for me, this is like giving executive more power. We know how INEC chairman is being appointed, and there are possibilities that this individual are not holy angel. The executive may look at it and look that, no, maybe electronic, he may not win election, or maybe his candidate may not win election. He called the chairman, look, I want it this way. And all I want to say is that, look, we're not ready. And for me, that didn't mean that even the people consensus who want it to count may be in the hands of a man who is somewhere as an executive, either as a governor or as a president. So that to me, this law is a good one, but the way it's going that it has to be in the hand of INEC, to me, I don't really think it's good for Nigerians, ordinary people as they call us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Well, time is not on our side. Mr. Ige, any final words?
Well, I think we should go the way of electronic voting. I've been an ardent supporter of that. We can achieve it. We have the resources. We have the human resource. We have the financial resource. We have everything going well for us. We have 4 major mobile service providers in Nigeria. We have banks in Nigeria. We have the Nigeria Migration Service. We have the Federal Road Safety Commission, who are custodians. We have the National Identity Management Commission. So already have the platform where we already have a lot of data warehouse. Can we synchronize all of this for INEC? INEC already has its own too via the voter card and all of that. Can we warehouse all of this into a central database so that we already have the background? Can we not deploy more technology to reach some of the hinterland? And even more importantly, if INEC is going to go electronic, will the same be instead of different state independent electoral commission? Because you also look at the national elections, because we are talking about Nigeria progressing, we are talking about putting our best foot forward. It shouldn't just happen only at the federal and state level. It should also happen at the local government level. So are we also going to ensure that state independent electoral commissions also go electronic in terms of voting? Or we can say, let us first of all solve the national problem, then we'll come back to the local government. But the local government is the top tier, of government. It's also important to Nigeria's march towards progress. So for us, overall, is for us to get things right, we need to get the electoral process right, and of course, we must get political parties right. Once political parties don't get it right, we'll continue to have problems with choosing the best of the candidates available for every election.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ige, as always. It's been a wonderful time. Have yourself a beautiful day, sir.
Yeah, you too, and you're most welcome.
Well, this is where the Morning Crossfire ends for today. Thanks for being a part of it. Remember, on Hello Port Hackett, which is coming up, due to be speaking with reps from PHED. They'll be here to answer your questions. So please send those complaints or questions. I'm sure you have, because power is quite the sector in Nigeria, to our WhatsApp. That's 080-903-06-416. Connect with us at Nigeria Info PH on all platforms, and with me at Sparkling Oracle on all platforms. See you tomorrow morning. Stay safe.